A624, Chinley head towards Glossop. Looking well ahead. We're obviously in a fairly urban area at the moment, dropping down into a narrow part of the carriageway. Quite bright sunlight, a large vehicle coming towards us, so we're just moving in towards the near side, bearing in mind that sandstone wall. In the 40 miles an hour speed restriction area, warned of bends, going to the left and then the right, slow on the road. So you can imagine that truck meeting us right on the apex of this bend. Got to be in a position to see these things nice and early and always sacrifice that position for safety. Warned of the bridge up ahead, looking well through it, trying to avoid some of these large grids in the centre of the carriageway. If you get used to missing them in the dry, you'll certainly miss them in the wet. Very, very slippy and wet conditions. Still in the 40 miles an hour speed area, looking well ahead, vehicles coming towards us, junction towards the near side. So we're just positioning out slightly out towards the crown of the road, bearing in mind any vehicles emerging from that junction. Road going around to the left, and we're dropping the speed down into the 30 miles an hour speed area. Centre of our own carriageway in speed restricted areas really, and we're taking the next turning on the right, so we're just slowing right the way down to the relevant gear, shoulder checking and then moving in towards this junction. Looking well ahead as soon as we can. Still in the 30 miles an hour area, road going around to the left, looking like we're getting towards the end of the village now, so we're anticipating speed restriction changing. There we go into the 50 miles an hour area, looking well ahead. You can see the road in the distance going around to the right, towing in arrows, telling us there's going to be a ghost island or solid white lines. And for the right hand bend, we position ourselves in towards the near side. That's the safest place for us to be, bearing in mind any near side dangers. Road going out of view and round to the left. So again, anything stopped around this around this bend, we've got to be in a position to stop in the distance we can see to be clear. Good cross view now across the tops of the walls towards the left hand side of the picture there. We see where the road's going round towards, and we're looking like we're going to start to catch other vehicles going in the same direction as us. Road now going out of view, so again we don't know what's stopped on the other side. Could be a pedal cyclist, could be animals in the middle of the carriageway. We've got to be able to stop. Always base your riding plan on what you can see, what you can't see, and what you can reasonably expect to happen, and have that contingency plan when something does go wrong, how you're then going to deal with it. Large vehicle coming towards us, centre line in the centre of the carriageway, just sacrificing a bit of position for safety, bearing in mind that large vehicle. Near side dangers now, we've got parked vehicles, some entrances to farms and dwellings, etc. Right hand bend, we position ourselves in towards the near side to extend that view. Slow on the road, into a bit of a dip and then a long rise. Still in the 50 miles an hour speed area. Equally again, anything stopped on the other side of this hill or this brow, we've got to be able to stop in that distance that we can see. Looking well ahead, road going around towards the left. Large junction of lay-by, etc. on the offside there. Parked vehicles, put it into our riding plan. Towing in arrows, solid white line on our side of the carriageway, telling us the view's restricted and no overtaking at that point. Near side junction, just over the crest of this brow. That's the danger, isn't it? We've got to be able to slow at this point, anticipating any vehicle movement. As it is, it's clear, but at least we've anticipated potential movement of any other vehicles there. Road going round towards the left. A little bit of markings in the centre of the carriageway, but on a dry day that's not going to come into play at the moment. Offside junction. Good view into that junction. As an elevated position sitting on a motorcycle, you do get a good view. So we're starting to catch this vehicle up ahead now, still in the 50 miles an hour speed restriction area. Dry stone walls to either side of the carriageway at this point. Cross view, we're looking across the tops of some of these hedges stroke dry stone walls. Saw the LGV coming towards us there. Long line of vehicles, always something to bear in mind that where you've got slow moving vehicles coming towards you and a long line of vehicles is one of those vehicles just going to pop out with no notice. You can just pop and overtake. So we're looking now to move into a following position on the back of this bluish car. You can see it's touching its brake on the downslope. I've just selected a lower gear and letting the engine decompression helping us downhill. If we do have to brake, we'll always brake when the bike's upright and then come off the brakes as we go into corners and use constant acceleration. Just easing back now as in anticipation of what this vehicle is going to do. Could it just throw an indicator on, turn left in towards this house here, or turn right towards the dwellings on the offside? 40 miles an hour speed restriction area. So just bang on 40 miles an hour using that lower gear, all downhill now as we drop down towards the village. Junction towards the near side, again anything just going to turn left, is anything going to emerge? difficult as well with the sun right behind us, isn't it? You can see the sun shining on the back of that vehicle. Sometimes that can mask, you know, brake lights, or it can even mask indicators. There's the indicator coming on quite late really, but no major panic for us. We've got to bear in mind the vehicle's waiting to emerge and to turn across our path, reducing our speed. Traffic lights green, always the most dangerous phase. They're only ever going to change to red, aren't they? Building speed back up now to the restricted 40 miles an hour and start to move in towards the near side, ready for this right hand bend. See this 4x4 waiting to turn, so just eased off, rolled off the throttle, nice and gentle. Hopefully we don't have to come to a stop. Nice slow speed as we just managed to get down the near side of that turning vehicle. So building the pace up now, back towards the restricted 40 miles an hour speed limit. Tucking ourselves in towards the near side. That's the safest place for us to be. It gives us a good early opportunity to see around this right hand bend and any potential hazards. We can see houses on either side of the carriageway. What I'm thinking about at this point is any vehicle movement exiting any of their driveways. So there's the 30 miles an hour speed restriction for this little area here. Pedestrian on the near side, so giving them a good safety margin as best possible, just moving out ever so slightly. You can see that the area up ahead is quite dark, obviously going to go downhill and round towards the left. The tree's overgrown, so we're losing a little bit of light, so just keeping the speed down. Parked vehicle now, oncoming vehicles as well, so bring the speed down nice and early, get that low gear, and then just bear in mind potentially that car door could open or the van door could open. You could see the wing mirror was tucked in actually, so that's a good indication that somebody's parked up and is stationary. But again, any of these vehicles here that we can see on either side of the carriageway could move at a moment's notice. Toning arrows telling us the solid white line coming up ahead. It's all about hazard frequency. Bearing in mind now we're up towards the 50 miles an hour speed restriction and we've been warned of potential roadworks. Road looks like it's going to be narrowing from the near side. So where are these roadworks? That's the next hazard that we're thinking about. Are they old ones? Have they been the signs have been put out and then not collected? It would appear that we've probably passed them by now. Still looking well ahead. We can see the road going around to the right and then the left. Hazard warning line in the centre of the carriageway. Warning triangle now, telling us there's some severe bends or tight bends. Around to the right and then the left. Slow on the road. All this information is there for us to pick up on. Chevron boards reinforcing the right hand bend. Position ourselves once we've cleared the right hand bend over towards the white line for the left hand bend, bearing in mind any large oncoming vehicles. Always sacrifice that position for safety. Difficult now, we're running in from darkness into bright sunlight, so always give your eyes a chance to adjust. Narrow bridge there, we just had to lose a little bit of speed on the approach for the larger oncoming vehicle. Road going around to the left. Oncoming vehicles, double white line in operation now. As we start to rise up the hillsides now, we can see good cross views now across the tops of those dry stone walls. Lots of information to be able to pick up on. Bends to the left and then to the right, reinforced with the chevron boards. Toning arrows again, telling us that the solid white lines are going to start on our side. Tucking ourselves in towards the near side for this tight right hand bend. Nice constant acceleration. That's just the engine pulling in the appropriate gear. Again, good opportunity to use the cross views now. Secondary route board, near side junction. Can we see into that junction? Potential vehicles can't see us, so they could be just pulling out slow mover just as we come over that rise. Very, very dangerous kind of junctions they are. If you can't see into it, that means people sitting in those junctions can't see you coming neither. As we start to drop downhill now, starting to come behind slow moving vehicles up ahead. We're warned of the gradient going downhill, so it's a nice early opportunity to select that low gear, and then the engine can kind of help you downhill as opposed to using the brakes all the way down. If we do have to use the brakes, then feather the brakes on whilst the bike is upright and ease off the brakes on the corners. Keeping a nice following position behind this 4x4, good 2 seconds behind him. What you find is vehicles start to run away with themselves. They'll start dabbing on the brakes as they go downhill, and we want to be able to absorb that distance just by using acceleration sense. And that's just the ability to vary the speed of the machine by accurate use of the throttle to meet the ever-changing road conditions ahead and behind. So just using that throttle sense on the downslope, just having a little look down the near side now, see if we can get an early opportunity to see where the road's going to. Easy for if you're quite a way behind or a good 2 seconds behind this vehicle, little bit of movements of your own bike, you can see down the offside or down the near side. to pick up on any information. You know, is that first vehicle in the line putting an indicator on to turn into any of those driveways? We'll get an early recognition of that. Secondary route board we've just gone past, showing us the junction towards the offside. Are any of these vehicles going to be turning right? As you can see, the 4x4 is touching his brakes now. They're all touching the brakes, and all we've done now is roll the throttle off using the acceleration sense and that lower gear to maintain the speed. Might have to feather the brakes as we come into this tighter left-hand bend, bearing in mind where that junction is.